英国名嘴到访中国。
片段1。
And let's see how long it takes in maglev super speed train.
I would say I think we're breaking the pace of a normal London train right now.
Yeah, this is the speed of a train up to London, I reckon.
100 kilometres already, Rob.
What? Guys, there is a speedo in each carriage at the ceiling. Okay, guys, we've surpassed 200 kilometres an hour now. 225. Wait.
片段2。
Province, once one of China's poorest, now seems to be on the path of improvement. The situation in Guizhou is reflective of a wider effort to grasp development opportunities tailored to local needs.
This is Chengdu, capital of Sichuan province. Affectionately known as the hometown of the giant panda, Chengdu is a key part of the economic belt that surrounds the Yangtze River, the third longest in the world.
Here at Chengdu's Tianfu New area,
entrepreneurs are being encouraged to use scientific and technological innovation as the bedrock on which to build new businesses.
片段3。
coming to do business.
以前贵阳街头上，我们看的更多的是背着背篓的为别人干活的人。现在在贵阳街头上，看到更多是穿着西装打领带，背着电脑包的 IT 体系。
Industrial upgrades are attracting fresh talent, and this province, once one of China's poorest, now seems to be on the path of improvement. The situation in Guizhou is reflective of a wider effort to grasp development opportunities tailored to local needs.
This is
片段4。
1000 Jahre älter sind als die 5 Bücher Mose im Alten Testament. Die chinesische Kultur ist heute mindestens 4000 Jahre alt. Die Schriftzeichen stammen aus dem Jahre 3000 vor Jesus Christus.
Ist Alter ein Wert an sich? Kann eine Kultur nicht auch überaltert sein?
Das Faszinierende ist, dass dieses uralte Kulturvolk plötzlich zu einer Vitalität erwacht, mit der heute vor 30 Jahren niemand in Amerika, niemand in Europa gerechnet hat. Die sind nicht überaltert, die sind voller Kraft.
Warum?
Das ist auch für mich ein Rätsel. Sie unterscheiden sich in einem Punkt von allen anderen Kulturvölkern der Welt. Nämlich, es gibt keine, das ganze chinesische Volk.
片段5。
The special offer, I will pay the full price in cash. The hawker didn't say anything, just gave him a quizzical look and pointed him to the QR code. And then he realized the QR code is for WeChat Pay, and he was the Swaku one. Indeed, in major Chinese cities, cash has become obsolete. Even
片段6。
And I think it's fair to have American pride about the reality. I mean, traveling 250 miles an hour, using our Chinese technology, and this is reality in China today.
Expensive. Now, 14 months on. It's crazy to even think that much time has passed. I mean, it's gone really fast, but at the same time, it feels like it was a lifetime ago that sort of coronavirus broke out. Me and my dad have talked about this before, but we feel extremely fortunate to be living in China during this time, because there are not that many countries around the world where you've been able to sort of freely travel for months around that country anyway. International travel is obviously still a problem, but in China we've been able to travel extensively.
片段7。
It's in perfect quality. There's a sweet taste to it. As a Portuguese, I know beer, so I recommend that for sure.
我很喜欢白酒，不是好喝，但是很便宜，而且你很快就可以喝醉。
海底捞你喜欢吗？
我觉得海底捞比较贵，我喜欢呷哺呷哺。我有时候去火锅，我会买2、3个菜，然后带我自己的菜。
Chinese gadgets.They're amazing. Before I came here, I was watching movies on my phone. This all the time on the bed, but then I got this.
片段8。
No valley low enough to stop them. This bridge, for example, is 34 miles long. And then there's this one, the Douze-Beipanjiang Bridge.
片段9
million people. That's just under half the population of the whole of the UK in one city.
I know, that's absolutely mad. Like when in the UK, like I've only been to London. I live in a very rural area, or lived in a very rural area, in a village probably of 2,000 people. So I've been to London maybe 3 times, and whenever I went, I thought, wow, like the buildings and everything's so big here. But coming to China has really put things into perspective. Like London compared to Shanghai and Shenzhen seems small, like actually small. How long does it take to get from one end of the city here to the other on the metro?
Oh, you can be well over an hour.
片段10
Yeah. And then the ones that they are making money on, they just want to keep pushing the prices higher and higher. So actually train travelling in the UK has become kind of more of a thing for wealthier people, because normal working people can't afford to use trains now in the UK, which is mad.
Again, trains? What are those things? Like, as an American, I mean, train travel is... In America, we have, like, Amtrak, and those trains are old, the rails are rickety. What are we traveling? We are traveling at 306 kilometers an hour at this very moment. And do we even feel it?
That, would you?
That is
you
crazy.
coffee sat on the side here without even
Oh, you don't. I think that unless you've been to, like, Japan has a very, very good travel infrastructure. Very good.
片段11
And where are you from?
I'm from Uruguay.
Thanks so much.
Bye.
Can I ask you guys a question? Yeah. What does that bring to mind?
Everything.
Everything.
China less expensive. Like, yeah.
Cool. Awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you. All right. Wutong Yijian. I want to ask people, like, what do they know about is being made in China? Like, can I ask you a question? Yeah. What are your opinions on made in China?
Made in China.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's great that they're making things.
What specific products would you think of as being made in China?
iPhone, certain video games.
Thank you so much. Wow, way fewer like low quality than I was expecting. Wait, is it recording?
Yeah.
All right. Let's go. Hey, can we ask a question? What are your opinions on made in China?
Not a good opinion.
And what things do you think are made in China?
Things just around.
Where are you from?
片段12
我中国从就500公里变成2个小时的距离，世界上没任何国家能做到的这一步。还有一个就是我的老爷他80岁。
片段13
Country is now home to 7 of the 10 longest bridges in the world, and incredibly, they've all been built in the
Beijing last year. For every 1,000 people who applied for a registration plate for a car they intended to buy, for every 1,000 who applied, how many do you think actually got one?
500.
200.
600.
300. 3.
What?
3 people.
Three
For
as in
every
three?
1,000 people who applied, only 3 actually got a registration plate, were allowed to buy a car.
This is good conversation, this whole issue, actually, and really interesting. Would you like to guess what was the best-selling car in China in 2017?
Well, Volkswagen have been there forever, haven't they? So I'm going to say the Passat.
I'm going to say it's a mid-size Hyundai of some sort, sort of boxy thing.
And your
片段14
这边是水果出，这边是零食出。在中国不会很明显的写就是水果出就是零食出，但是国外会。
片段15
Really?
You
So
don't
that's
cash.
Yeah.
I never have cash with me, and if I need to pay cash, I'm like, oh, sorry, but here it's always WeChat or Alipay.
Yeah.
So that's so convenient.
Wow. So what do you use back home?
Cash.
Cash.
And credit card. A couple of months ago, they started with Apple Pay, so they're getting a little bit smarter. Yeah. So we're getting there.
Xiaomi, this was the first company I heard about when I came here. What was very striking for me when I came here is the car industry. We don't see that much in Europe or in the US. China is doing great in that area.
WeChat, that is perfect.
WeChat, Alipay, so much more advanced than back home.
It's really far ahead of where we are back in the UK. Really like WeChat Pay.
Yeah.
When our friends come here, they're really surprised that you can use your phone to pay for everything.
Very convenient bank transfer and all these kind of things through WeChat.
WeChat.
We go back home, we miss WeChat.
Oh, really?
Yeah, WeChat Pay. The Xiaomi brand. Yeah, actually, we were going to buy a Western brand, and this one was recommended to us.
Phone.
You can control it from your phone, same, and it can tell you what the air pollution is in your house.
Make life easy.
WeChat Pay.
Oh, yeah. I love that because in Italy or in Europe, we don't use it as a technology. And, I think it's amazing, but otherwise, it's a little bit under control.
Why? Why do you think like that?
Because you can use only one app for your life to pay, and yes, it's so simple, so smart, so fast, but you are under control.
片段16。
所以你不知道，或者说你无法体验啊，大家应该知道，我来自意大利。就说如果一个女孩子一个人晚上出来的话，肯定会被人骚扰的，还是什么，这个是肯定的100%的。但是在中国的话呢，我是半夜的时候出来。
片段17。
The discombobulation this will cause the United States and the international order of which the U.S. has been the principal architect and guardian. The past 100 years have been what historians now call an American century. Americans have become accustomed to their place at the top of every pecking order. So the very idea of another country that could be as big and strong as the U.S. or bigger strikes many Americans as an assault on who they are. For perspective on what we're now seeing in this rivalry, it's useful to locate it on the larger map of history. The past 500 years have seen 16 cases in which a rising power threatened to displace a ruling power. 12 of those ended in war. So just November, we'll all pause to mark the 100th anniversary of the final day of a war that became so encompassing that it required historians to create an entirely new category, World War. So on the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month in 1918, the guns of World War I fell silent.
片段18。
暨教育学院毕业生吴瑞龙，我来自委内瑞拉。今天我非常高兴能够在本届毕业典礼上代表全体电大毕业的留学生发言。首先，我要感谢中国政府与我的国家一起监测文化交流项目，给我们来华留学的机会。得到了中国政府的信任和支持，我们才可以享受今天这么美妙的日子。今后
片段19。
Glass cornered the market in 5G. Anywhere in the world these days, you better have a yen for travel. China alone, they have 40,000 kilometers of high-speed rail. America has none. Our fastest train is the tram that goes around the zoo in this impacted colon of a country. China sees a problem, and they fix it. They build a dam. We debate what to rename it. That's why their airports look like this, and ours look like this. 2 bus lines through environmental review. In Boston, took 16 years. 37-story skyscraper in 19 days. The San Yuan Bridge in Beijing in 43 hours.
片段20。
7 million cars here in 2017. Japan, 8.35 million. China, let's put it up.
Mind-blowing.
24.8 million cars they made there. And what's extraordinary is that you can't just buy a car and then use it. You have to apply to a government-run lottery for a registration plate for your car. Now, here's one, OK? In Beijing last year, for every 1,000 people who applied for a registration plate for a car they intended to buy, for every 1,000 who applied, how many do you think actually got one?
500.
200.
600.
300.
3.
What?
3 people.
Three
For
as in
every
three.
1,000 people who applied, only 3 actually got a registration plate, were allowed to buy a car.
This is good conversation, this whole issue, actually, and really interesting. Would you like to guess what was the best-selling car in China in 2017?
Well, Volkswagen have been there forever, haven't they? So I'm going to say the Passat.
I'm going to say it's a mid-size...
片段21。
For the last 200 years, the number one power has always been a Western power. So even when power passed, number one power passed, from the British to the Americans, it went from one Western power to another Western power. But now we are facing a transition for the first time in 200 years, where the number one power is going to be a non-Western power, which is China. And so this is something that the world hasn't dealt with for 200 years. That the United States will at some point become very concerned about China's rise. And when I spent 3 months in America, I was shocked to discover